Thank you, Rajdeep ji. Thank you for this introduction. And I think, you really set the tone for today's discussion. You said technology is the driver. I totally agree. Technology is the driver. It's an amplifier. But at the end of the day, you need a message or a face that drives this technology, that drives this. So I'm a journalist, so my role is to add a little masala. So I'm actually going to be talking faces, personalities first, before we go to the role of technology. Politics 2.0 is going to be driven by one person. It is, it is a very Modi-driven politics that is happening in India today. And there is really no opposition. The Congress that should have been there has not. We all know what is happening to the Congress. So since we have someone from the Aam Aadmi Party here, the Congress seems to have outsourced the opposition to the regional parties. At every state, if there is someone giving opposition to the BJP, it is that regional party. And the only one who has to, who is trying to build up, his place in the national narrative, it is Arvind Kejriwal. He is, if I would say, he's fashioning himself to be a Modi 2.0. So in the end, what he's really becoming is a Modi light. You look at his playbook. It is straight from Prime Minister Modi's playbook. One side, there's a chaiwala. One side, he says, I'm a Aam Aadmi. He says, politics of welfareism. Arvind Kejriwal does freebies. He's the Hindu Hridaya Samrat. The other one says, I can recite the Hanuman Chalisa at the drop of a hat, preferably in front of television cameras. So, he is actually, both are 24/7 politicians. Mamta Banerjee tried, but she is limited to her region. Arvind Kejriwal, in that sense, is not. He does have a pan-India recall. What he doesn't have is a pan-India party. We discussed this, and at lighter moments, we say that maybe, Congress is a party without a face, and here is a face without a party. Maybe Sonia should just adopt Arvind Kejriwal. But, having said that, since Arvind Kejriwal cannot get his party together in 2 years, he cannot have a pan-India presence, we are forced, thereby, to again take a look at the Congress. And the Congress, and here I bring in the role of the social media. Rahul Gandhi on his own is not such a bad leader. His problem is he came up against Prime Minister Modi, against any other BJP leader. I think Rahul would have had a chance. He has the Congress machinery, the goodwill of the people on the ground. There is some base. I think Rahul could have at least given some sort of a tucker. But he came across the cult of Prime Minister Modi, a cult that was amplified and built up by the social media. Rajdeep talked about Twitter and, the Obama campaign, which was later on adopted by the Modi campaign. I'm speaking to the converted because a lot of people here know more on the inside track than I do. We have people here who worked on the Modi campaign. They know exactly how it works and what happened. We saw it in 2014, then the Congress wised up because there was not just a built-up of Modi, there was a take down of Rahul also as the Pappu figure. Then, of course, came 2014, where the Congress wised up and tried to, but the problem is Congress doesn't have a narrative. It doesn't, so you cannot just have a strategy. You need something to back that up, and that's where the Congress has really faltered. You look at Rahul Gandhi's comments in the last 1 year, whether he's spoken about China, he's been right on COVID, he's been right on the economy, and yet he's found no takers. There is no credibility. I mean, what could be worse for a leader who says the right things but doesn't find any takers because he has no credibility to sell the right things. On the other side, you have a lot of statements that are also slightly outlandish, but yet every election is won by the BJP. The people trust Modi. They trust BJP under him. That is the big gap. And the Congress thinks that you can fix it by just being a presence on the social media. Yesterday or day before, Rahul Gandhi tweeted about the price hike. One tweet does not set an agenda. You had that Chintan Shivir. Did you ever talk about inflation, economy? Did you make that your main agenda? Have you done any dharnas? No. So you have to back. Social media can be an amplifier. Social media and a virtual reality cannot replace the physical reality. We saw what happened in the 2022 UP elections. There was a huge presence of not just social media. It was like 2 elections of being fought. There was the first time I saw a lot of prevalence of YouTube channels. If you go to on the YouTube, there was Kisan बहुत दुखी हैं, Yogi is being wiped out, Modi will not go to Western UP, rally cancel कर रहे हैं, ये वो. It was looking as if BJP is losing. But if you go to the mainstream channels, there was another, it was really like 2 elections were being fought. But what swung the thing for him, I was in fact speaking to some people here in the audience also, was the fact that Amit Shah went door to door. in Western UP. So that door-to-door, the physical presence is needed. You need someone to back, you can do it, and then, of course, you want everybody to know you've done it. That's where social media, the connect comes. It makes you more accessible to your voters, to your public. But it also, there is a danger of democracy by algorithms. Because if you just rely on the social media, then you get a social media bubble. You will only hear things that the media, the algorithm thinks you want to hear. So you will not hear the other viewpoint. That is a big danger that you must, be wary about. We'll talk about it a bit more. One more just thing, he spoke about Obama. Donald Trump was the first Twitter presidency. And therein you see how this also is a two-edged sword. For his was really a death by Twitter. He was, using Twitter like he's drunk dialing his ex-girlfriend. Every night he would go something warp and all. He would delete it, but, it's out there in the World Wide Web, so you can't delete anything. Look at the way the BJP and Modi have used Twitter. He gives out a message, it is amplified by cabinet ministers, pracharaks, at all levels, the same message is hammered home. And those who know opinion polls know this is how you actually swing. If you show a poll saying this leader is leading, this leader is ahead, this leader is ahead, people, it's a loop in your mind, political loop. This is how algorithms work. That's, you start believing it. It adds to your electoral winnability also. So these are some of the dangers. You can sell a good thing, you can also sell a bad thing. So I think we'll discuss all these pitfalls of living in a virtual world. But as I said, politics 2.0 without taking Prime Minister Modi is really, a bleak landscape for the opposition.